G'day, Ben from Melbourne here, and yet again we're doing another interviewing the VC. Today we've got the prog wizard with the beard and hair to match, who's also not afraid of punk, folk, and even has a Laughing Clowns jazz punk record. He's the glue of the VC, whose streams bring together all musical tribes, the connector, the human Lego, the champ of meetups, the Frenchest man in French Quebec, the Frenchest province of Canadia. It's the French vinyl addict, Romuald. Welcome, mate.
Welcome, Ben. Thank you very much for the invitation, and really glad to be here. And yeah, I'm the French vinyl addict. Yeah.
Well, we can't dispute that.
No.
Thanks for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it. So, if you're new to this is basically a member of the VC. I interview, I give them 6 questions to do a little bit of homework on, which I think wouldn't be fair if I just put them on the spot. But then there are 6 ones which they're not prepared for, which is always interesting to see how they go with that. It's kind of like a quiz. It's kind of like a getting to know you kind of thing. There are points awarded. Like all of the good UK quiz shows, the points are meaningless except for the people who compete, and if they want to lord it over other VC members, go for your life. All right, if you're ready, I'm ready to get into it.
I am. Ready
Let's
to go.
rock. Okay, first question. Justify your YouTube existence. Why should we watch your channel and show a record that supports this?
Good question. For the hair and for the accent, probably. No, it's a question I was asking myself when I did start a channel, and when I just take a look at the figure. The people that follow my channel are mainly 55, 65 years old in North America. So I think they just simply love what I show. They don't make new discoveries because I'm just starting to building up my collection. So I hope I can bring some personal perspective. And there are other people younger from France, from Germany, that also watch my channel. So I hope maybe I can spot some stuff they don't know much about. And it's about sharing. And so that's the video. And the live stream tab, that's almost another world. If you watch my channel, those are really important to me to organize meeting, to invite my friends, to bring people together. You were talking about the glue. Thank you very much. That's too much honor. But yeah, this is pretty much what I try to do. Reaching out to people because I just, to me, it was like so obvious. There are lots of groups of people around that not know each other. Germany, Texas, Scotland, and I say, why? It would be fun. You have to have these people around the same table. And when it works, it sparkles sometimes really interesting conversation. And so, yeah, those are the reason why you should watch.
Yeah, you seem to always have like a diverse bunch of people and with diverse taste too, and it seems to work no matter what. Which was interesting because I realized that when I was on one of your streams, and Mike Vinyl Spiral was on, and the last thing I expected to be talking about was English folk music, and I realized I was right into it, kind of thing. And yeah, it was one of them things. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Excellent answer. Definite point. Oh, the record. I apologize. I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah, truly one of the stuff I really like. I'm going to talk about the early 70s, late 60s, heavy blues, hard rock. And this is something I really into and really like. This is a French band, by the way.
Nice.
A gang of French people. They born in Morocco, so they brought this North African stuff. And this is truly what I like, to talk about in my channel, so people they can discover something they barely know about. So variations Nador would be the record I would choose for the question one.
Love that cover photo too.
Yeah.
They look like some cool dudes. Cool. Nice. 1 point even before you showed the record. I was
Yeah.
so for that. Smashing it. All right. Next question. Show a record that you know I like.
Oh, could have gone pretty much easily with with the Saints or something he made later. We're talking about Ed Cooper, a laughing clown. But there is these connections in the vinyl community, with what you like, what other people like, and also watch your channel. And I decided to go with this one.
Yes.
I recently rediscovered this album, and it's so obvious when TVI, first song cover by Radio Berman on their debut album, and these
Correct.
LA blues, that brings it's a proto punk. I don't have to present this album; everyone knows that.
Yeah.
LA blues, which is like with the saxophone free jazz that we also can find in the Laughing Clowns, with Louis Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure this is the source of pretty much everything you talk about in your collection, you love and you share with
Yeah.
us.
Well, yeah, interesting. You should pull that one out because I've recently just read the Radio Birdman book, and obviously Dennis Tech, the guitarist from Radio Birdman, he's from Detroit, and he was
Yep.
over here studying, and he was a few years younger than Ron Ashton, and knew him quite well, and also the guys from the MC5 as well, Fred Sonic Smith. I think from memory in the book, Fred Sonic gave him that iconic white guitar that he has. Yeah, and so yeah, it's made me pull out my Stooges stuff again after reading the book, and you can really hear that Detroit sound in especially those Sydney bands of that era, which yeah, fantastic. And I don't know if you know the live album called New Race from the mid '80s,
No.
which was a one-off tour, and it was 3 Radio Birdman, so Rob Younger and on vocals, Warwick Gilbert on bass, Dennis Tech on guitar, Ron Ashton on guitar, and Dennis Thompson from the MC5. And they played a mix of Radio Birdman, MC5, and Stooges' song 100 Miles an Hour, and it was just a one-off thing. It was apparently, I'm glad they recorded it because it's a killer show.
Yeah,
So it's
I
just
can
called New Race.
New Race. Okay, thanks for the tip. Yeah, we'll check it out.
That is a definite point because love the Stooges. All right, question 3. What is the most unusual item that has been included with a record you own? It can be either a legit part of the package or something the previous owner left in there.
When I got into vinyl again, 2018 and 2019, I was on the lookout for Beatles stuff. Started from the beginning, and I discovered the mono UK pressing. At least for me, offered another experience than the CD, which I grew up with in the 90s. So one of the very first record I bought was this one, Revolver.
Yep.
And very interesting in this record, I found this little insert, and so those are a bunch of peoples in June '67. Okay, it's written in French. I bought this record back in the days when I was still living in France. So someone got this record, and when I just read all the comments, it's so obvious that I made some research that those were a bunch of people like children of the welfare system. Do we say that in France? And they were having a trip for the end of the process. So this is the present, they gave to one of those guy dude.
Wow.
So with all the text, so very very touching,
Yeah.
and I simply, yeah, I immediately thought about that
Yeah.
when reading the question. So yeah,
Wow. Yeah, I've only ever heard of bored hippies scribbling all over the White Album. I never, because that's a
yeah,
bit of a thing too. People collect White Albums, which have people did their own art because it's just a blank canvas basically and wrote on it. But yeah, that's fantastic. 3 for 3, doing well.
yeah.
Okay. Tell us a story of the most unusual or funny thing that has happened at a gig you've attended or played.
Play. Okay, the one I played, maybe.
Cool.
Yeah, when I was young, very young, my mother, she wanted to enroll my sister and myself to in piano lessons. So here I am, an 8 year old kid, have to play piano with a, in the UK they say posh, they use the word
Yeah,
posh
yeah.
kids. So I'm completely with posh kids in a school I hate this year, uh, learning about the theory, musical, and piano.
Mm-hmm.
And but I was not doing not bad. So
Yeah.
I played this end of year concert with the posh lady, with a teacher came from Poland, like very strict, horrible. And he teaches the Polish suite for piano forehand, So here I am playing with this little girl, and every time she made a mistake, I stopped purposely, put the spot on her, and
What,
she
to
hate.
point out that it was her and not you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was probably more punk and sneaky by the time.
Yes.
And it was like, no, you have to keep carrying on. But every time she made a mistake, I stopped myself as well. So I hated those years. So yeah,
That's great. That's
yeah,
great. That's the first one story so far of someone playing in front of people and something happening.
yeah,
I like that. He's just like, no, I'm not going to play anymore.
yeah,
If she gets it right.
yeah,
Cool story.
yeah.
And yeah, with all those posh kids too.
Mm.
That's a saying over here. We call them posh. I don't know
Oh.
if that's a Canadian or US thing. Do they say posh? I don't know.
In America, in the US now, here in Canada, it's a little bit different because a lot of people they have like Scottish, Irish background. So,
Mm-hmm.
but no, it's not it's more UK word, I think.
Because of the
Yeah,
class thing over there, I
yeah.
suppose.
Mm.
All right, we are up to number 5. Show your favorite music-related fruit or vegetable that's not a banana. The more I asked this, the more embryonic Brian I realized got off really lightly with because if I just left it open and he had 2 banana albums.
Yeah. One apple and one Bang Rankings video a day keeps the VC drama away. This is an
Well,
apple.
just because of you're promoting me, you definitely get a point.
And I won't be showing any Beatles record because the VC is plenty of.
I reckon everyone would have got that anyway. So yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
good call. Good
Yeah.
call.
Thank you.
All right, next one. Is there a band or artist you try to get at all? And if you do, why them?
I was like a little bit hesitating between Peter Gabriel, since he went like from prog to world music to every different, lots of interesting stuff throughout his career, which is still ongoing. But I decided to go with this artist simply because
Yeah.
I'm not really a country guy, if you are asking me, but
Mm-mm.
really like everything he did back in the days with the Birds, with the Gosden Brothers, with Duke Dillard when he revamped it in a way, this kind of country folk, up until the stuff he made with David Geffen, and I have yet to be disappointed. So it's not like exploring lots of different territories, but always it brings interesting, touching stuff to the table. So yeah, Gene Clark is probably the D1 artist. I'm trying to find everything I can.
Fantastic. Yeah, I love Gene Clark.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah, obviously Birds were who I heard of first, and then might have been, I don't know, back in the late 90s when there was, you know how there's always an album like, the Forgotten Record, blah, blah, blah. And that was around the time I started hearing about his record, No Other. You know that one? Yeah. And
Yeah.
I love that record. And then it made me sort of go back and find his earlier ones. So like people like him and even Townes Van Zandt really kind of opened my ears a bit to country music, and I have quite an appreciation for it now. But yeah, love Gene Clark. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, the one of the reason people rediscover their stuff is mainly because the Roadmaster is a perfect example. The previous one, which is a black cover, was a
I think
massive
it's
success.
just a self-titled one with the little sun on it. Is that the one you mean?
Is a green light or something? The one
prior
prior Roadmaster. The cover is pretty much black, and I have the name on the top of my head. Anyway, this one has been a massive.
I can't reach it. It's too far away.
Yeah, this one has been a massive success in the Netherlands. So Roadmaster was only released in Germany and in the Netherlands, but when Gene Clark passed away, they released a couple of greatest hits, including the stuff he made with the Gaussian Brother, the Birds, and Roadmaster for the first time in the 90s. So people rediscovered, his career at the time, and really like this. Yeah, and No Other. That's the next one, 74 on Asylum, David Geffen. Beautiful album. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first one I become aware of his solo stuff. Was No Other. What are we up to? 6 for 6, I think, so far. You're all over this. We're just on the winning streak now. All right. This, as I said to Americana Sam, this question has become a double-edged sword because, yes, it's the Van Morrison question.
Okay.
And considering, I think most of you people I've interviewed know my opinions on Van Morrison, ironically, I've ended up talking more about Van Morrison than lots of bands and artists that I actually really love. So without further ado, the question is either apologize for liking Van Morrison or celebrate your dislike with me for Van Morrison.
It's a tough question. I would maybe celebrate the dislike. No,
Finally!
Really. Yeah, because there is something with his voice, and even though I'm pretty much into folk, and I had a comp when I was 14 years old with that song Spanish Rose, and for some reason was like, okay, we would say the word cheesy, but so different what he brought with them. And you had this discussion with Brian Robot over here, which I totally agree with. So and yeah, it's not nothing for me either.
Excellent. I knew that there were people out there like me, and I'm glad it's you. Them were just like this great hard driving R&B blues band from the 60s, almost garagey, and then his solo stuff, it just I just find it really self-indulgent and disregarding his personality on top of that doesn't help either.
No.
Anyway, that is contributed to a perfect score so far. Well done. Now, this I'm looking forward to because with your French accent, I think this is going to be great. So, in your best Vinyl Richie voice, you got to say, "Hello, everybody."
Hello, everybody.
Oh, I'm on board. I like it. Not only do you speak several languages, you're now the man of 1,000 voices. You impersonated him perfectly.
Thank you.
If you don't know out there, Romuald does a French speaking stream and also a German one because he's just a bloody show off.
Yes, I am.
And confident.
Yeah.
All right, question number 9. Why don't you like hip hop, or why do you dig hip hop?
I dig hip hop since. Sorry.
All right.
I grew up in the 90s. So in my high school, there were two gangs of people. Either you were into, Blink 182, Korn, Marilyn Manson, riding a skateboard, or into hip hop.
Yeah,
And
I know which way I would have went. We're given those choices.
yeah, and I discovered hip hop in the late 90s with some French band, with some East Coast band, Biggie, Tupac, Eminem later, and yeah, it reminds me a little bit of this period of time. And I dig hip hop certainly because now I'm more into like obscure stuff from the 80s. So everything has been made. The connection also with Kraftwerk, Africa
Mm,
Bambaataa, the
mm, mm,
jungle. Tribe Called Quest, so certain stuff. So and the connections between rock, Beastie Boys, such stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, all the because we could say right now the hip hop band probably have their own influence, jazz influence,
Mm,
but back then they didn't have hip hop influence as a pioneer.
mm, mm.
So what did
True.
they bring to the table? Because they were a rock generation, they wanted to have their own stuff, be
Yep.
bigger, stronger than the big brothers. So yeah, rediscovering what happened mainly with Eric B and Rakim.
Mm,
The way they
that's it.
changed. So this is what interesting me as well. Plus, now it's the classic rock of our generation, and I mentioned the classic rock since
Mm,
I'm 39.
mm,
Some people my age go back to vinyl records, and it's still the right time
mm.
to find those 90s classic on vinyl. Even
Yeah.
original pressing. I was in Den Bosch last year. You can still find those stuff like really affordable. Not sure if and we are talking about 90s pressings, like very
Mm,
little
mm,
numbers. I'm not sure if in 5 years of time from now will be the same.
mm, mm.
So
No,
yeah,
I'm a little bit older than you, and so my exposure to hip hop was probably what I guess it does get called the golden era of hip hop, that late '80s, early '90s era with, yeah, like you say, Tribe Called Quest, Public Enemy, De La Soul, all that. And I love all that stuff, and it actually opened my ears up to styles I probably wouldn't have discovered. When you start discovering, that's a sample from blah, and then you hear the original record and things like that. And then it also made me realize this whole thing of people with turntablism, which people say, oh, they're just playing other people's records. And it's like, that's a load of crap. They're like inventing something new with this. And
yeah,
yeah, like it's like people like DJ Shadow, like his records are all turntable based, especially his first two, and they're just mind blowing. And different, almost like a like a soundtrack, soundscape kind of thing. With like, yeah, really, really taking it to a whole other level. But
yeah.
yeah, love,
Pl-
yeah.
Plus, there is also the fact that we have to stay connected. We are a vinyl community, mainly people like over 40, 50 years old, but they are new people into vinyl. So asking
Mm,
them and not their parents, hey, what are you stuff into?
mm,
Important take into consideration the Kendrick Lamar, the stuff they listen to right now, because in 20 years from now, they will be the adults with
uh,
some bit of nostalgia, and those will be the classics. So Yeah, hip hop is not the stuff I do talk about daily on the channel, but I'm aware those stuff are exist. Yeah.
Yeah, and alongside like garage and punk rock bands of the '90s, you could argue because hip hop and electronic music is a vinyl culture and helped keep vinyl alive during that period when it was mainly CDs.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah. They were did this plan in France. They probably survived because of thanks to small labels,
mm,
electronic
mm,
music, some techno and hip hop.
mm.
Definitely, yeah, yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, all of the people older than us are probably skipping through that section. But anyway, we'll move on to the next question. Show a French record.
French record.
Yes.
Okay, so you have to pause the video, and I will have to grab
And while you're doing that, grab a
yeah, in the other room. Yeah.
Canadian record.
French. Do you want a French Canadian or a French from France?
However you interpret it, but I want a
Okay,
French one and a Canadian one.
okay. Yeah, give me 2 minutes.
Okay. So we'll just talk amongst ourselves. Obviously, that was a unsolicited question there, and I've put the great man under the pump, not realizing his records were in a separate room to where he records his videos. But good on him. He was like, I think he had that light bulb moment straight away, and he's went straight for the collection. So it'll be interesting to see what he comes back with. Because to be honest, my knowledge of French music is probably Serge Gainsbourg and all of those Yee Yee girls pop records, which are really cool fun, like Francois Hardy and also Plastic Bertrand. Remember that one? One of the killer late 70s sort of French pop punk songs there. Everybody knows that. I'm not even going to attempt to try and sing in French in front of the French vinyl addict. That will just be embarrassing. Okay, talk amongst yourselves for a moment. He's obviously fossicking through the collection like mad right now. Come on, Romuald, you can do it, man. Might if I can't pad out this more, there might be a slight edit in this section here. We'll see how we go. Oh, I can hear something. There's movement in. Here he comes. I managed to pad that out, I think, and was also very entertaining in your absence there. Just let him put his headgear on, so he's with us.
Okay.
I think I just expertly managed to pad that out while you weren't there, so no one will be bored, I'm sure.
Okay. Thank you. Got 2 records.
All right, what do we got?
This is something from Quebec region, so French Canadian stuff. This is a Taboo. Okay. And yeah, it's very interesting here in Quebec during the 70s. If you watch my channel, I often talk about that. Prog rock was very like important. There were like bands like Harmonium were doing their stuff. Genesis, yes, Gentle Giant were a massive source of inspiration. And there were this other branch of the scene, more into jazz rock fusion type of stuff. And this is one of the band that you could fall into this umbrella as yeah, it's some crazy jazz, as I said, with the African percussions.
Oh, okay.
Female vocalists do scat, uh, pretty pretty interesting. So Tubabu, mid
That's
70s,
interesting.
yeah, stuff.
The
And
African influence rhythm section, you're saying?
African percussions, yeah, conga and
Cool.
such. It all started with a band called Ville Aimar Blues Band, was pretty much like Caravanserai Santana, Chicago first era influence, and evolved into several side projects. And Tubabu is one of them. So with these funky
Cool.
bass lines and yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
And the French one, this is Yves Simon, singer songwriter, a little bit a la, let's say, what's the name of the guy who don't even remember it on the top of my head. Like very like folky acoustic guitar, and this one is a little bit special. He's backed by a band called Jardrop Express, which is a little bit more, as I say, funky, jazzy, almost soulish influence. Tells a story about a Paris during the
Yeah.
70s, where they were still like popular neighborhood. You not like too much, it went a little bit of posh, after that. Now you cannot really afford, but back then they were still like almost like villages. And in those villages, district of Paris, some people were like have their own attitude, their own slang, their own accent, and this is what he covers. A record from 1975. So yeah, Yves Simon,
Nice.
Raconte-toi, which is a tell yourself or pour yourself out. Yeah.
Excellent. I like it when you pull out two, which we'll be all having a stream of, because of, I like to pull out obscure, non-obvious ones. Yeah, I definitely, with when you said
Yeah.
the African rhythm section for the jazz one, that's piqued my interest. Nice work on your feet too.
Yeah.
Like bang bang.
Bang bang.
Okay, we're going to stick with the theme of those two questions. This is what I call Canadia versus France. And you can only choose one. And the rest, their back catalogue is gone off the earth forever. And it's Leonard Cohen versus Plastic Bertrand. They're in a similar field of music, obviously.
Yeah, you sure they were touring together? Yeah. Yeah, meeting the same people, yeah, at the same time. Plastic Bertrand was from Belgium, by the way.
Oh, I knew I had that slightly wrong. Damn it.
Sorry, I'm really sorry.
No. Well,
It's almost like calling a Canadian an American. It's the same. Oh, Jim Carrey is an American actor, right? Sure is.
yeah, that is so bad. That's like how we claim New Zealanders all the time when they're successful. So I've
There you
just
are.
appropriated Plastic Bertrand on behalf of the whole nation of France. Sorry about that. I think that's possibly a point against me. That one.
You're the
for a
you're the
ill
gate you're the
for an
gatekeeper.
ill-conceived
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
So you definitely get the points on that one. Okay. Wow. My research department is getting sacked after this video.
I
Now,
hope. I hope. I sincerely
yes,
hope.
it's a small department, as you can imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay, this is the bonus question. So that's always to do with Australia. In what decade is Australia expecting the SSN AUKUS nuclear-powered attack submarines to be in service after scrapping the deal with the French naval group for the attack class submarine project? President Macron was not happy with us when we did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. In which decades?
Mm.
Uh, 2040s.
Got it. Bang on.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, so we'll just keep that quiet, because in the meantime we might be vulnerable. And apparently, to change to the deal with AUKUS, we were fined for pulling out of that project with this is Australian dollars, $830 million we were fined for not getting anything. And then God knows how much we've paid for the whole AUKUS thing. But anyway, another great decision by the Australian government on you, Australia. So, a little factoid there.
No comment on politics.
You can comment as much as you like on my channel. I don't care.
Yeah.
You've done the unbelievable and scored a perfect score, 13 for 13.
Cool.
You are now raced to the top of the leaderboard, which means like after this, everyone watches it will probably sleep with you, buy you drinks, all sorts of stuff. That's like, is the territory you're in now. You're an award-winning panelist. So well done.
Hope they won't speak like me.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up because we've hit the 35-minute mark. Maybe I will have to do a slight little edit in the middle there while you were searching for records. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me on this, Romuald. Really appreciate it. I'll leave the French Vinyl Addict details below so you can follow the link, check out his channel, subscribe to him, open another channel, subscribe to him again. Let's get him up there. He's one of the good guys who brings people together. No drama, no bullshit. It's just people talking about records, having a good time. Thanks, mate.
Thanks for having me, Ben. Had a fun time. Yeah, fun time.
Cool. See you in the next one.